This is Trophy, the Scoundrel's Quarter, Part 9. Big events last time. We already recapped off mic, so I'm not going to do it here. I do, however, want to point out a few technical character goal related things that we should probably make you all aware of. The first is that right now, a couple of you are, feeling it a little bit on the ruin. Nobody's at 5 anymore, which is great, but no one's totally fresh either. And you have to meet your burdens. A couple of you have particularly high burden scores, like Magda. And so just be mindful of that as you're thinking about what to do next and whether you want to abandon the incursion or not. It's just something to be aware of. I am not going to put Tekla at burden since Tekla is kind of joining the group, presumably under the aegis of Patience Davies. And so you get to just have this for free, Tekla, basically. So that's kind of a thing that's going on. There's also a fair few conditions roaming around as well. Cassian, yours are in particularly rough conditions to be dealing with right now. Just something to be mindful of. Malkuth's, yours aren't great either. So there's a lot of incentive to go home, but you can't unless you've made your burdens in treasure. So just something to be balancing and thinking of. You have basically finished everything there is to do at the farmhouse. I don't really think there's anything else to do there. You've kind of done what it does. And so I think we'll just begin, if there's no other questions or comments, I think we'll just begin seeing Tekla walking up the road. This is maybe early in the morning, right as you're done eulogizing and burying Bana. You remember Tekla. You'll recall that even though we haven't seen a scene with you together, you ostensibly spent a few weeks on the road with Tekla, right? Like you took Tekla and her group to Fort Durin. And so Tekla is not a stranger here. Like, you know her, you understand what her deal is, and she understands all of you as much as you were able to say. And so that's kind of where we're starting. And so I think I'm just going to frame it up with Tekla coming up the road, seeing the group, seeing the mound of dirt that Bana's body is under, and role play.
Tekla's just quietly walking along, and as she gets closer and everyone kind of looks up and sees her coming, she just gives a shy little wave with one hand.
Seeing her in the distance, I think Malkuth, he probably has a shovel in his hand, sort of draped on his back, and he looks to the others. Like, is that who I think it is?
I thought everyone died.
Wait, what?
Well, they never came back from the forest.
Oh, I guess we can ask her.
And or is she here?
I don't know. And Malkuth will just sort of awkwardly wave towards her.
Does anyone else find it strange that she's showing up just as we bury our friend?
It's suspicious, at least. But there's no way she would know.
Hi. Tekla, right? That was your name, yes?
Hello. Yes. Malkuth. Am I right?
Yeah.
I hope I didn't take you by surprise.
You did. We're dealing though.
Oh dear. She says, looking down at the pile of dirt. Oh dear, what happened?
Malkuth just sucks his teeth and looks at Magda.
Unfortunately, we lost a member of our party.
What brings you this way, Tekla?
Well, I heard tell around the Scoundrel's Quarter of the of where you were headed and what you were in search of, and I found myself unable to resist following along. I was, as you know, I'm, well, a researcher, and I was fascinated by the history of this place. And it seems we had just missed each other. My return from the forest was just a day or so after you embarked. So I thought I should, well, if I was hoping you wouldn't mind if I followed along and see if I could make myself useful.
Tekla, if you are actually Tekla, what actually happened to the rest of your party in the forest?
Well, that is an unfortunate tale. The forest, and she almost looks as though she's about to break into tears. The forest is such a dangerous place. It was a miracle that I came out of there. But fascinating too.
So is it true then that they're all just gone?
I'm afraid so.
And I beg your pardon, sort of. If you're really Tekla, then you would remember the conversation we had about your favorite Magda song.
Oh,
Name the song. If you're really Tekla, you'll remember it.
referring to something real quick. It was the song of Magda and Great Basso of the Golden Mane and how they first met one another.
That is true. What was your favorite part of that song?
With all due respect, Magda, Tekla, I mean, we could put it to a vote. I personally don't see any problem with you coming with us, but it's a really awkward time right now.
Well, I certainly don't want to impose myself if I'm not welcome.
No, it's not that. Sorry, I'm just not good with my words right now.
What happened to your poor friend?
Cassian will just kind of look over at Magda and say, "What did happen, Magda?"
Was attacked by a merc freak under the farmhouse.
Well, there you
And
have it.
fortunately, nobody was able to help him.
It's an interesting choice of words, but yes.
That's horrible. And is this creature still under there?
No, he took care of it.
Well, this feels like a suitably
Awkward.
vague and awkward initiation, but I think we're good, Tekla. There's nothing else to be done at the farmhouse. And so, yeah. Somebody remind me what happened to the scarecrow, though.
Cassian is holding its heart.
Oh, that's right. Okay, good. Yeah. Add that to your found equipment if you feel so inclined. I will tell you that there are
in some cornholes.
Yeah, there's some. I'll give you the lay of the land again. If you travel south along the road that the farmhouse is on, that leads directly to the village, which you have not been to yet. the village of Hester's Mill. And then if you keep going south on the road leading out of the other direction of Hester's Mill, that goes to the Gallows Hill. And then, of course, sort of coming into Hester's Mill from the other direction, from the west, is the road to Hester's Mill, which is where the vagrants' campsite was, where the shrine was, and indeed ultimately where the ruins of River Rock Keep are. You have had a very valuable treasure stolen from you, Malkuth. Your Starlight Serpent egg. Unfortunately, you were not able to act upon that in very quick time. However, Cassian did confer with the plants in the area, the corn, and the corn seemed to suggest that the egg has been taken to the, quote, place of transformation, which we take to mean the mill. So that is sort of where things stand. Malkuth, I think you are probably in the best position to say what's next, since you are the one with something at stake here. What do you want to do?
I mean, I think he'd be democratic about it, but he's definitely not just worried for his own possession and a possible child. I think he's also really worried about what this creature and this woman controlling him will do with it. And I know that we're not heroes, right? But if something happens,
Magda's like, speak for yourself.
I was going to say that.
if something happens with that egg and we know what that egg has and what it can do, we don't know what the kind of fallout will come from that. But I understand if you want to leave.
Sounds very much like something that would not be our problem.
Yet.
I'll defer to your wishes now, Chris. We've lost one friend today. I'm not interested in letting one do something foolish on his own.
Magda?
Magda just kind of shrugs. I guess if that's what the two of you are doing, then I'll be there.
But what do you want to do?
I don't know.
Feeling a little tired, Magda. Perhaps another nap. If we're going to the mill,
says nothing.
If we're going to the mill, it's best to do it while the sun is high.
Indeed. And Tekla, I don't think you get a vote, so you're just following along, seems like.
Yeah, let's go to the mill.
The village of Hester's Mill is our new set. There is very little of Hester's Mill left standing, actually. An odd cottage or two, a half-crumbled well, a decaying stable. The only feature left fully intact from the village's heyday is the mill itself. And I will point out this strange feature of the mill, which is it's an old style of mill where you would like hook a donkey up to the wheel to like grind to turn the wheel. Very unusual because the village is situated near the biggest river in the land. And they absolutely could have made this a water-powered mill, but it's not. And so your goal here, this is strictly out of character knowledge, but the goal here is to gain the ability to see and hear the demon Malfest. This actually counts as its weakness if you have to actually fight it. I think as you approach the village, there's a little lean-to next to a kind of, a large kind of, well, not a lean-to, but like a little kind of shack. There's a scythe leaning against the wall of the shack, its blade red with rust. And you actually see a couple of buckets of wet, orange-hued soil and stacks of brown and gold-colored burlap sacks stuck together by caked blood. As you get close to the heart of the village, near the well, which is kind of in the center of everything, you can see on one side of the stable, someone has written in large red letters, presumably with paint, "Malfast is king." Also, one more thing. Another, because it stands out. The mill, the large double doors of the mill have had a message painted on it as well in white paint, which says, "Do not believe Mandrake's lies."
What were you saying, Jack? Sorry.
I think once he sees the Valfast text, he just asks Tekla, do you know anything about Valfast? Do you have any insight? I know that you're smart.
Would I know that name?
I don't know.
I
What
do have
skills do you
skill
have?
I have skill in myths.
Myths, obfuscation, temptation. I'll let you make a hunt roll.
Using
2 dice. Yeah.
2 dice. Sorry, I need the
Oh, I don't have a die
do we
roller.
have a
That's
link
why
for the die roller.
I haven't made one. Give me a sec.
Oh, sorry, I was picking up my physical dice and then suddenly remembered I'm playing trophy.
Yeah, I haven't run it in a bit, so I forgot to. Right, here is a link to the die roller. While Tekla's
So that's
thinking,
a hunt with
oh,
a hunt with 2 dice.
2 dice, yeah.
1 and a 2 on the dice.
Great. While you're racking your brain about what you remember about Malfast, or if you've ever heard such a thing, what are you doing, Cassian?
Would I be able to exchange my hunt tokens for some goodies?
Yes, you certainly can. Where in just of the places I've described, where would you be looking?
I think let's start with the stable.
Okay. The stable is barely standing. The roof is nearly collapsed, but the stalls still have thick beds of hay in them. The hayloft is intact, but the ladder leading up to it is in splinters. You will find underneath the hay a fine set of chainmail marked with the crossed sickle and sword symbol of Lord Galdrin. It's buried under some of the hay in one of the stable stalls, but the hay has actually helped preserve it a little bit, kept moisture off it, and so it's can be used if you wish to put it on. Otherwise, it's worth 1 gold.
I will. I'll stick with my mirrored snakeskin armor for now.
Yeah, and that's 1 token. How many are you spending?
I would spend 4.
Oh wow. Okay. In that case, I would give you something better. Yeah. Well, you're gonna find the big thing if you're gonna spend that many. There is also a satchel. It's the kind that sort of goes over your shoulder, right? And inside the satchel, there's quite a few things. One of them is a roll of diabolist tools athames, candles, things like that. It's not actually worth anything, but it's interesting and you should put it in your found equipment. There is another journal from Beatrice Mandrake in the satchel. There are also 2 healing potions. That's the real treasure here for the short term. And a key. The healing potions are worth 1 gold each. The rest doesn't have intrinsic gold value, but is useful stuff.
Thank you.
Quite a find. Magda, what are you doing right now?
I'm trying to keep everybody sort of in my field of vision. I don't want anybody to, I'm just afraid of letting anybody out of my sight. But I believe you said there was a well?
There is a well, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll go check out the well, see if people have been flicking coins into it as a,
Sure, yeah.
wishing well.
The sun is high enough in the sky to where you can see partway down, not all the way, but you can go ahead and give me a hunt roll. Describe how you're doing how you're looking and investigating, and that'll determine whether you get another die or not.
I think I'm using the sun and reflecting off of probably the shiniest thing I would have is my helmet. Reflecting the helmet light down into the well as best I can.
Okay. Go ahead and roll 2 dice.
Magda encounters something terrible and loses all tokens. That's double ones, some snake eyes.
Yeah, the die roller just like wakes up and chooses violence with you all every week. How many tokens did you lose?
2.
Okay, yeah. Cassian,
It couldn't
smart
have been worse.
move, spending your tokens. Yeah. You flash the light down the well, and the light does not go as far as you would expect light to travel. That's because the light has hit the slick black body of a crow creature, pulling itself up the well, its slimy tentacles allowing it to climb up. It's hissing as it snaps and climbs up. What do you do?
I'm going to use my sword to cut the rope of the bucket so the bucket falls on it.
Oh, I like that. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think this is probably a risk roll. I'll give you a light die for the sword to start. I will offer you a devil's bargain of putting the Scoundrel's Quarter at risk.
Scoundrel's Quarter at
3.
Is that 3?
Even odds, nothing happens.
Yeah, I'll take it. Why not? May I also push for my skills and surprise?
Well, I mean,
Surprise
I
something?
gave it to you for the sword, so
Oh, okay.
yeah.
That makes sense, yeah.
But go ahead and roll 2 light dice for now.
Rolled a 4. I'm
Good.
gonna add a dark die, I think.
I'll tell you what the complication is. You might not care.
Okay.
The complication is it does land, but you'll discover that there are more down there as well at the bottom of the well. Actually, let me tighten this up. It's going to work, but you're going to have to basically make an immediate follow-up plan to stop the others that are climbing up as well. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, you know what?
But you
I'll
buy
take
yourself
it.
some time. So,
I'll take that.
all right.
And
Go
then I
ahead
do the ruin roll for
yeah, go ahead and roll.
Scoundrel's
Yeah,
Quarter.
roll ruin for Scoundrel's Quarter.
And the ruin
Goes up to
it's
4.
just the standard, right? Yeah.
Yep. You got a 5, so it goes up to 4. Go ahead and describe how you knock the one down, though.
I think it's such a quick motion, like holding the helmet up to reflect the light down the well and seeing this thing and sort of just tossing the helmet up, you know, so that it lands right behind me, taking out my sword and chopping the rope, which is probably already a little bit on the frayed side. And I think it just sort of hits the crow thing on the head with a big clunk. And there's a little shrieking sound as it falls down the well. And then there's a lot of shrieking sounds as the other ones react.
What are you going to do to prevent the others from coming up?
Oy, that's a good question.
Did anyone take Banah's lantern oil? Because Malkuth has flint and steel.
No. I didn't know.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize we could take his backpack equipment.
You might have, if you all have blank spots, you might be able to pull something out of your own.
I have blank spots. I have oil.
Fantastic. So the plan is to basically just light them all on fire.
Yep.
I like that. We'll come back to this. Tekla, I owe you a terrible thing. I don't know how terrible it is, but it's interesting. You see a beetle. Has no significance to anyone else here, but it does to you. You see a beetle crawling toward those doors to the mill where it's painted, "Do not believe Mandrix lies." The beetle like turns and looks at you as if to suggest that you should come this way, and then goes and crawls underneath the doors.
And where was the graffiti about Malfast painted? Sorry,
That's
that
on
was
the side of the stable. It says Malfast is king.
Malkuth. Yeah. Were you intending to investigate the mill?
That was the plan.
Shall we take a look?
Sure. Why not? And then, yeah, very carefully as he can, he's going to go ahead and lead the way into the mill.
If you try the doors, they would normally open towards you, but someone has secured them from the other side. Always a good sign.
Yeah.
With chains, it seems.
What do you make of that, Malkuth? Someone must be in there.
Probably. It wouldn't surprise me at this point. Yeah. Malkuth, I think he's nice, but he's not very smart. He's not like Rose Island, but he's not, he's not very worldly. So I think where there's a problem, he has a hammer. So I think he's gonna try and smash the handles to the door, see if he can open it that way.
Yeah, you can be doing that. Cassian, after you're done finding your prizes, up in the hayloft, you hear a wheezing, a gasping, like someone is sick up there and dying. Zoom is probably going to squelch this, but it's like, what do you do?
The ladder to the hayloft was intact.
It is not. It's in splinters.
Think he'll take a couple steps back toward the door. Last time he encountered something above him, it did not go well. So he's going to kind of try and peer over the edge and to say, "You up there? Announce yourself."
Just rasping, hissing.
He's going to back out in the hopes of maybe getting some backup.
Indeed. This might be when you see Magda tossing bottles of oil down the well and getting ready to light a fire. Magda, I think that this is going to be a risk roll. You'll get to take your first light die for the equipment. I want everyone to say what could go wrong here if you fail.
I think she was rather sloppy throwing out the oil, and I think she got some on her. And so when she lights the fire, she will also catch fire.
Yeah, or just a burning crow creature manages to crawl its way out of the well shaft, and it's, now you've got to fight it, and it's on fire.
Exactly.
That was my thinking.
No, mine too. That's kind of where I was at. Let's talk about dice. So you get your first light die, as we've discussed. What? Oh, devil's bargains. Everybody can make a bargain or make an offer.
No matter what, you will hear, just in passing or in your mind, the voice of the woman that Malkuth heard.
No matter what, the fire is going to spread far more out of control than you had intended.
I was thinking maybe kind of like a Centralia. The well opens up into tunnels under the whole of Hester's Mill, and you're going to start a fire beneath the whole of Hester's Mill.
Jack, what was yours again?
That she would hear a message from the voice that Malkuth heard.
Oh, which voice was that? Remind me.
Out of character, I think it was Beatrice.
Oh, that's right.
Summoning
The woman who yeah. Right. Ooh, I like that, actually. I'll second that one.
Man, I do like the secret tunnels idea, but then they're on fire, so we can't even use them. Let's put out the fire. Then we'd burn down the mill. Okay, I'm going to. I'll take Jack's.
You've got 2 light dice, and I think a dark die is automatic because you're playing with fire. 2 light, 1 dark. Go for it.
I rolled a dark 6.
Nice. Well, ish. your ruin goes
Back
up to 5. Back up to 5. But you do completely succeed here. Describe how you destroy the creatures.
The oil kind of glints in the sun because it's sitting so high in the sky, reflecting down, and I can see these creatures start to crawl up, and they're sort of swarming each other and crawling on each other as they make their way up the well and dumping the oil kind of frantically onto them, tossing the bottles down just to if there's any extra in there that I've missed, and then I imagine I have something to light a torch with because I have torches. So whatever it is. And lighting the well on fire, jumping back as the of fire kind of bursts up from the initial hit with the flame or with the oil.
Once it settles down, and we'll come back to this, but once it settles down, you hear a voice down in the well. A woman's voice. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, Malkuth, I'm not interested in making you roll for this, so you can smash open the doors, no problem, after a little bit of effort. Gaining you entry into the mill. The mill itself is actually a 2-story stone building with a crimson roof. The large double doors that lead inside are painted purple on one side and green on the other. and they are locked from the inside with the message, "Do not believe Mandrake's lies." When you open the doors, the two of you inside find a horrifying scene. The walls and floor are stained red with old blood, and bits of cracked bone are scattered all over. There's one person in particular, who is a skeleton now, leaned up against one wall. It's probably the person who locked themselves in. There are burnt candles nestled here and there, and in the center of the room is the massive millstone. Tekla, what do you do?
Well, I suppose that explains why the door was barred. At least they're not going to, or at least I hope they're not about to jump on us.
At this point, I
And
wouldn't put it past them.
Yes. And I want to take a closer look at that millstone.
You can make a hunt roll.
Do I have any skills? I don't really. Let's just do the whole one die hunt roll. 2. Wonderful.
You encounter some terrible things. First of all, I'll tell you about the millstone. The bedstone, which is the track of it where you put the corn and it grinds it, that is actually filled with, or it's been stained a deep red because of so much blood that's been in it. It's stained the stone. And there's flecks of bone in there as well. And the millstone itself, perhaps most interestingly to someone in your line of work, is etched all over with tiny runes, thousands of them. The millstone itself is an object of arcane power. A fascinating discovery that you don't get to enjoy for very long, because, Malkuth, you will notice there is a tear in the fabric of reality opening up over Tekla. A hole, if you will, in space. There is a large, oily black tentacle, very similar to the ones that the smaller crow creatures have, but quite big. Wriggling, writhing, slithering out of the hole above Tekla. Malkuth, what do you do?
I call out to her, Tekla, above. And as I'm doing that, though, I'm going to try and run to scoop her out of the way.
Tekla, the tentacle grabs you and has you tangled up and is trying to pull you up into the hole. Malkuth, what are you doing?
I'm trying to yank her down. I'm trying to get her free from this thing.
Indeed. This is going to be... let me take a look at some stats really quickly before we go any further.
And very angrily shouting, let her go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Risk roll. We know what you're trying to accomplish. Everybody, what could go wrong here? Actually, I'm just going to say what's going to go wrong is Tekla's going to get pulled into that hole if you mess this up. Now let's talk about dice. Do you have a skill or piece of equipment that will help you?
I was yelling very angrily at it, so I would like to add commands to it.
Okay, sure, I'll take it. You catch its attention briefly, long enough to yank Tekla free. You have 1 light die, and Ben, you can make the devil's bargain.
What was it that happened to Magda, a follower of Malfast?
Oh, servant to Malfast, yeah.
Servant of Malfast. You're going to be a servant.
That's troublesome. You know, it's because it's Tekla on the line. I don't want to make Rob roll a new character, so I'll add that. I'll take that.
You have 2 light dice, and you're not the one in danger, so I'm going to let you just roll 2 light dice for now.
Okay. That's a 4.
A 4. You are going to rescue Tekla.
Thank you, Malkuth.
As you do, one of the tentacles, there's a little nest of them coming out of the hole, will gently caress your cheek. Even as you're resisting, even as you're fighting it, it will gently caress your cheek, and you will take on feelings of love for the creature. The creature is a parent. The creature is your father. It is a king. It is everything you have needed and wanted. And it wants you to worship it at the base of the mill. But describe how you otherwise rescue Tekla.
I think there's a struggle as he's yanking her from the tentacle, and just as he pulls her, he sort of tosses her aside, trying to sort of lure the creature to him, since he's the bigger target. But I think, as you said, one of the like smaller, thinner tentacles kind of slides down and caresses up his cheek, and if you're realizing that, kind of relaxes. And unless you say otherwise, I think the creature is sort of satisfied taking a new host, a new supplicant.
New supplicant. And the complication here, that was going to happen regardless, but the complication on the 4 is that you have to like begin worshiping it right now. You're going to go outside the mill and start doing that.
Yeah. He'll walk over Tekla, sort of ignoring her, saying thank you. And I think she would notice that his eyes are completely black, and he is just walking very determined out of the mill towards the shrine.
I think Tekla at that point well, if she wasn't already, will be running outside yelling for the others that there is something in the mill, and something in the mill, and something wrong with Malkuth. Something has happened to Malkuth.
Magda, the voice at the bottom of the well, is saying, "Please, I'm trapped down here. I've been down here for many, many years. I've been in a magical stasis, protecting myself, protecting my body and my mind from these creatures, from the demon atop the mill. Please, you must rescue me. Only I can help you."
Of course. One moment. And I think Magda just goes straight into hero mode. I have given her a grappling hook for her last blank space in my backpack equipment, and I'm
Going
gonna
down.
rappel down.
While you're down there, you can go ahead and roll a gold 10 for all of the crow things you killed.
It's the first time I rolled a gold roll in this game, I think. Are you kidding me? So 0 gold.
Your fire burned
I've
a little
never
too
gotten
cleanly.
gold from a gold roll. Not once, ever.
the die roller just said fuck you today. Like it's just so it's so not having it today.
It knows when we log in, it watches. Daniel's just sitting there like cackling.
You're going down. So Magda's out of the picture right now. Cassian, you're still in the stable. What are you doing right now, Cassian? Where do we leave you? Oh, you're coming to get help. That's right. And you see Magda going down. So what do you do?
I think I'll just quickly try and help here.
Malkuth, when you go outside the mill, you can see Malfast It's atop the mill. It appears as it's a titanic creature. Well, big. It's very big. It's probably about 15 feet high from its bottom to the top. But then it's on the mill as well, so it appears very looming and large. Dark Souls scale, right? It looks like a nest made of black tentacles. And inside this nest of black tentacles is about a half dozen little crow heads, kind of like the ones you've been killing. But then in the center of the nest is an enormous titanic crow head, which is Malfast. And the little crows are like, chirping up at it, but it's more like raspy hissing. And the large crow head opens its beak, and a sound comes out of it. Oh God, help me! Oh, saints, sisters, help me, please! And the large crow head begins to regurgitate a half-digested soldier. It comes sliding out of the giant crow head's mouth. The soldier's skin has been partially melted by digestive fluids, and its armor is all patchy, and you can see bone, and you can see like he's got one eye, the other's been melted away. You can see inside his cheekbone, his tongue flopping around as he screams for his life. The partially digested soldier is completely regurgitated down to the little crows, which immediately tear into him and pull him apart and feast, and he screams the entire time. Malkuth, how do you worship this being?
I think in his mind, he's almost saying, well, lucky him. And he's watching, and this thing craves life, it craves power. And I think because Tekla was just there and it seemed to have an interest in her, I think he's going to nod to his Lord and Savior Malfast and get him a meal. And so I think he's going to go chase after Tekla to go bring her back.
I mean, Tekla, you're right there. So what's going on here?
Well, I was running, looking for the other two to warn them about.
So you're at the well with Cassian, basically.
Yeah, I think I just come running up, and there's something in the middle. It tried to grab me. Something big. And I think it's done something to Malkuth.
One thing at a time. Get Magda.
Where is she?
And he'll just point with his one hand at the well as he's rushing over.
In the well?
Of course. Where else?
Meanwhile,
yeah.
down in the well,
Mm.
Magda, you're rappelling down. And you get down to the bottom. And there is a woman down there. She looks vaguely familiar. She looks a little bit like the Path Seer who gave you your quest to Hester's Mill, except she's not dressed the same way. But it definitely looks like her flaming red hair and her basic build and facial structure. But she's wearing a velvet robe embroidered with silver stars and moons. And she says, as you get down to the bottom, she says, unfortunately, I had to strike a deal with the demon Malfast so that I could live. I am owed, well, I should say, it is owed. Sacrifice as part of our deal. Your friends up above are not going to make it out of the village, I'm afraid.
Are you saying this is a trap?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm not even here. However, I do have a question to pose to you. Something just for you and I. I need you to find something for me. Something of great value. Something that I need at the gallows. Let your friends serve the role that's been assigned to them, and when things are cleared, you crawl back up out the well and help me find what I need. And I will pay you an incredible sum when you return to Fort Toren.
There's a knock at my door. I have to run to the door.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's a good cut anyway. Meanwhile, Cassian, Malkuth's behaving really strangely. Tekla's freaking out. What are you doing?
Seeing Malkuth, he's just going to toss the full length of rope over to Tekla and say, tie this somewhere tight and throw it down the well. I'll be right back. And start walking toward Malkuth.
Malkuth, how does Cassian find you?
I'm in Terminator mode right now, so if he tries to approach me, I would literally just shove his face out of the way and keep going to Tekla.
Oh, very interesting indeed. And you can see his eyes too, Cassian. Malkuth is clearly under some kind of ensorcelment here.
He's going to try and grab Malkuth's arm and just say, snap out of it. We need you here now.
Unless you have some kind of thing that will break the glamour or the ensorcelment on Malkuth, is not going to work. I'll give you a risk roll if you can think of a good excuse, but
I think seeing that it isn't working, I'll say, think of your child, Malkuth.
you're going to try to reach him with stories of the Starlight Serpent egg.
Yes.
I'm into it. And you have the armor, right? The armor like might be a good like visual reminder of what is at stake here, which I think is kind of interesting. Yeah.
He'll pull his cloak open a little bit so you can see the shining surface and say, the egg, Malkuth, your child.
If this is a risk roll, can I post something that would go wrong?
Sure.
Seeing that armor, he'll think that he's some sort of executioner or exterminator of the snake's kind and will be even more angry.
He misinterprets it completely. Yeah, that's good. Let's talk dice. You can have your first light die for bearing or brandishing the armor at Malkuth. Rob, you can make the devil's bargain.
No matter what, Malfast is going to take an interest in Cassian as well.
I mean, yeah, sure.
You have 2 light dice, and I think a dark die is automatic here. Go ahead.
Light 6.
Light 6, very good. You will shake Malkuth out of it. What does it look like?
Oh, definitely. After the second time of being rebuffed, he'll smack Malkuth across the face.
Yeah, he'll fill it, and initially will just look very stone faced, but he'll blink, and the blackness goes, and he's back to sort of blue slate color. And how? Uh,
We only have so much time here. Magda's down the well.
what?
You can clear the condition, Malkuth. There are portals opening up all over the village with oily black tentacles coming out of them. One right in front of the well, to stop you from approaching the well. In fact, Tekla, you see it first and you can back off. You're either going to have to battle Malfast, or you're going to have to come up with a plan to get Magda out of the hole. But Magda, let's check in with you. Beatrice Mandrake has said that she had to cut a deal back then to survive. And that deal involves her bringing regular sacrifice to Malfast. And your group is up. But there's something that she needs. Something, she says, something that has just been brought to the Gallows Hill. Unfortunately, my courier has a very limited range. I need you to pick up the rest of the journey.
I understand now. I understand all of this now. You
Oh.
are the quest giver for my pilgrimage.
Yes.
For my deity, Aquila, the hero of heroes. I am on my
Right.
pilgrimage, and you are...
Exactly.
But I can't abandon my friends. That's not heroic.
Oh, yes, you can. They weren't... Who cares, really?
No, this is a test. This is a test of my heroism. You need this item. You need me
Yes.
more than I need you.
Uh,
If my friends get hurt, I will destroy whatever under that tree. If my friends are safe, I will get this item for you.
all right. I'll help. Your friends cannot
Such a bad
battle.
idea.
They cannot battle the demon Malfast unless they can see him. Otherwise, the demon has the upper hand, so to speak. But I learned how to see him. And I'll tell you how. They can do it. And here I need to actually think of something because I haven't thought of anything. I think that it's as simple as a spell, the words of which are written in her journal. You just say the words and you'll be able to see that which is hidden. And that'll be enough to see Malfast. And so what do you do, Magda, with this information?
I'll say the words. Did she tell me what they are? I imagine she told me what they
no,
are.
she says they're in the journal. You have to find the journal. But Cassian has the journal. You don't know that,
Yeah.
but yeah. So what do you do then?
I think I will turn and grab the rope, the grappling hook, and look back at her and say, remember our deal. If my friends are hurt, I destroy whatever under that tree. It's a
Right.
tree? Whatever under the gallows.
Under the gallows. She says, right. And you'll bring it to me, yes?
If my friends are safe.
All right, good. And then she disappears.
I assume you're going to be down here in this well.
I don't think that's... I think she was
Hello?
projecting her consciousness down there. But you can certainly climb back up. All right, so Cassian, Malkuth, Tekla, you have a big issue. As long as you stay like outside of the town square, the tentacles won't reach you. But being in the town square is a problem as long as Malfast is guarding it in this way. So what are you all doing right now?
Heckler is trying to get the rope down to Magda.
Well, there's already rope down there.
Mm.
Because Magda climbed down the grappling hook, and so you can back off once the tentacles appear near the well, certainly.
Mm.
Yeah,
so what's the plan here?
I think Malkuth is feeling guilty about trying to kill the other two. So I think he's going to try and help Magda out of the well if he can, or at least get close enough to.
We'll say you can do that. I'm not
Yeah.
interested in making your roll for that. Cassian, what are you doing?
If there's I think I'd be looking at that journal, see if maybe there's some, assuming that this is linked to what is going on here, trying to find like a banishment
Yeah,
option.
and Magda, are you like hollering what you know as you come up?
Yeah, I think I'm like, there's a book, a journal, there's some words in it. I kind of like yelling out vaguely what to look for as I climb up and just sort of haul myself over.
Cassian, you can
A book?
absolutely find the ritual that is being described. It's essentially a series of steps involving rubbing mud from the fields, the cornfields, on your eyes, and doing some other like little things that allow you to see. It's a whole process. We can describe that process if you decide to do it, but otherwise you're all going to have to run from the village because Malphas is going to start targeting you with its teleporting tentacles. So what are you all doing right now?
I think I'm just gonna yell out to everybody to run for the gallows.
Yeah.
I'll follow Magda.
Yeah, I'll follow Magda.
With the book tucked under one arm, we passed by buckets of dirt on our way in.
Orange mud. Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I'll grab a bucket on the way.
Yeah, you can do that. And as long as you're not in the town square, Malphas calms down. You still can't see him, but the portals that were starting to open up and the tentacles that were starting to appear withdraw.
Okay. The woman in the well, who's my pilgrimage quest giver, said that I had to get this item and give it to her. But if I made a deal and if I give it to her, wait, hold on.
What woman?
The woman in the well.
Yeah, you said that. What did she give you a name?
No?
You didn't think to ask.
I have a suspicion. Remember what was written on the door of the mill?
Malphas is king?
No, that was on the stables.
Oh.
Don't believe Mandrake's lies.
Does the book have like, is it Ex Libris Beatrice Mandrake?
It is, yeah.
We'll
Diabolist
hold
and
up
show
that.
woman extraordinaire Beatrice Mandrake is how it's titled.
Oh. Okay, well, she did say if you read these words in the book, you can see Malphas, but now I'm not sure.
What happened
But
to you,
then-
Malkuth?
I don't know. I was there was a giant, one of those tentacles that was trying to take Tekla, and I think it caressed me. It was weird. It felt very loving, very affectionate.
Perhaps it's this Malphas that wants to believe that Mandrake is lying. Perhaps we should believe her.
She did just try to trap Magda down a well.
Yeah, I
No,
also,
where'd
if
you go?
Malphas tried to drag me into the roof of the mill and did something horrible to Malkuth.
She did say that she had to make a deal with Malphast in order to save herself.
if I had to put all my gold on it, I'm going to say that she probably is the one that's conjured Malphast, brought him here. And that's also probably the one who stole the egg, or at least had whatever creature it was steal it for her. I don't think that she's very trustworthy. Call it a
This is
hunch.
the enemy of my friend is my enemy?
I think they're both enemies, and we have to be very cautious of both of them. We should go to the gallows, though. If this is what she wants, maybe we can use that to our advantage.
It's better than the mill.
Anything's better than the mill.
It was a pretty gross smell.
The Gallows Hill. Lord Galdrin's gallows were built high on a hill so the people of Hester's Mill would have a good view of their friends and family swinging in the sun. The goal here is to find the treasures of Hester's Mill. I will tell you, as you approach the Gallows Hill, you will see a naked man covered in gore and viscera from head to toe, just blood and guts all the way down, stumbling away from the Gallows Hill down the road leading out of the village. Let's take a 5-minute break. You all left the village with the understanding now that you are on the radar of this demon thing atop the bill. Gallows Hill, as I've described, it's gallows, top of a hill. But also, there are oubliettes, a trio of them on the ground at the base of the hill. An oubliette is a pit-like cage in the ground, which have like kind of iron doors in the ground, you know. So the idea is they're deep enough to where you drop a prisoner in and they can't climb out, essentially, because it's so high up. There are 3 of those in the ground around the hill, or at the base of the hill where the gallows is. There's the gallows itself, and there is a man covered head to toe in viscera and blood. The only thing you can see that's not red are his eyes and his teeth, and he's quite naked, and he's just stumbling away from the gallows in the direction, generally the direction from which you originally approached from the castle.
What's his disposition? Is he just sort of like in a daze? Does he look
He doesn't seem
pleased?
to have noticed you, and he's just taking halting steps and kind of muttering under his breath.
I think I will run over to him and see if I can help him in any way. Are you hurt? Obviously, silly question. You're hurt.
I have to get to the river. I have to get to the river, and I have to clean
What happened
myself
to you?
off. I have to clean myself. I have to make myself clean again so that I can resume my hunt. I have to kill it, you see. I have to kill it. As it tried to kill me, I must kill it.
You're what, Malphast?
And he hadn't seemed to notice you before, but now he does. He turns with his wild eyes, red, bloody face, and says, "You speak the name of the demon so freely. The demon that destroyed my people, that destroyed my land, that destroyed my home. I will have my revenge upon it."
It tried to grab me. It is in the It is in the mill.
Yes, well, I must go. I must wash. And he's walking towards the river, actually.
Malkuth will just call out Lord Galdrin.
He turns again. He says, "Yes, son, are you one of the survivors? Did you survive the attack?"
I survived a attack, yes.
"Well, take up arms, for we are not finished. We shall have our revenge this day."
Yeah. And he'll just
Is-
sort of brandish his hammer.
Is this another path on my pilgrimage?
Blood gore, the
Another
gore-crusted
question.
man. The gore-crusted man just continues on to the river.
How is he still alive after all this time?
Can't
Maybe,
be Lord Galdrin.
maybe it was a spirit, a specter or something. A ghost, even. Magda.
Bloody then. Ghosts don't bleed. They're also not real, so probably not that.
You know who this is?
He was once the lord of this place, apparently.
But surely he's... How do we help you? Lord Galdrin?
He reaches
How
the
can we
banks
defeat
of the
this
river.
monster?
He reaches the banks of the river, and he begins to wash himself in the water. You can see now that there's a bundle on the bank of the river, a cloak, some clothing, a weapon, kind of stashed there by some rocks. As he comes out of the river, he says, "Ah, I feel refreshed. Oh, forgive my immodesty. Give me just one moment, please." And he goes and he puts his clothes and things on. He says, "Ah, there we are. More travelers in this land. You have to be careful. These lands are abandoned, but they are still very, very dangerous." It's 100% the vagrant that you killed, Magda.
Yeah, we were just chatting about that. Like, oh, it's that guy.
It is. Now that he's washed, you can tell. He doesn't seem to recognize you, though. And he says, "I've just arrived myself. I'm here on a hunt." And he kind of gets
Is
up.
he
He
still
says,
like drying off?
"Yeah, yeah." Well, he's putting his clothes on, yeah.
I would like to walk over to his clothing pile and just sort of kick his weapon into the river.
I think he'll see you do that, and he'll be like, "Wait, well, what are you doing?"
Oops.
I I need that to for my hunt.
Magda, what's going on?
What strange behavior?
And I think I'm just sort of looking at Malkuth and looking at that guy and looking at the direction that we came from, and it doesn't make any sense because Magda's just not good at this sort of subtlety.
I was going to invite you to my camp for some breakfast, but I can see that you all are brigands.
Just Magda. My apologies. And he'll give Magda like a significant like behave and say, we are perhaps we perhaps have the same goal in stopping the demon. How long have you been at this, friend?
Well, I've only just arrived.
I see. From far.
Here and there, here and there.
But you are Lord Galdrin.
No, I don't know that name at all.
So then, who are you?
Just a friend, we'll say.
But you weren't born a friend. Did someone give you a name?
My name is Tekla, for example, and this is Malkuth. What is
Yes,
yours?
yes, I well understand the concept of names, friend. Unfortunately, my weapon has just been kicked into the river, and I have to go to my camp to retrieve another. Now, if this is brigandry, then we shall settle the matter now. And even though I am without weapon, I am still quite dangerous, and at least one or more of you will regret that bargain. But if this is just a misunderstanding, I shall let it slide. I have far more important things to attend to.
Like what?
My hunt. Hunting the
are you
demon,
hunting?
Magda. Were you not listening?
But if he's hunting the demon, why did he go somewhere else? The demon's here. It's very easy to hunt something that's right there.
Sir, so sorry. This is no brigandry whatsoever. It's just a misunderstanding. Magnus kind of clumsy. We're just in the area.
Yes. Well, good luck to you. Be careful. There are, I'm told, very terrible things in the land here.
And servants of Malfast. We've encountered 2 of those.
I don't know of what you speak, but I shall certainly be mindful of these words.
You don't recognize the name Malfast?
I think I ought to go now. And he drags himself up off the bank of the river and marches toward the vagrants' camp.
What of Beatrice Mandrake?
He stops.
Do you recognize that name?
And he does not turn, but he just keeps walking.
That feels like
I
a
think
very
you did
passive
recognize
yes.
What did anyone see where he came from?
Came from the hill. It looked like, at least.
But one of the oubliettes, the gallows?
We can look around.
Yeah, I'd like to use my tracking to maybe see where that blood leads to, if anywhere.
You don't. I don't need a roll. You can just do it.
I would like to turn in my hunt tokens for some swag, some gold, if possible.
How many you got?
Some treasure. I have 3.
Okay. I'll let you know what you find in a bit.
Cool.
The bloody footprints lead to they lead right up to the gallows and then to the trap door.
What, a trapdoor under the where you would drop through to be hung?
Yes.
Love a trapdoor.
Is it open?
It can be opened pretty easily.
Well,
I
is there a
open
rope on the gallows?
No.
There's no noose.
So, Maggie, you said you're opening it?
Yeah, I'm gonna open it.
There is a space underneath the gallows. Big enough to crawl around in, at least. Do you go down in there?
I think so, yeah. There's got to be a pretty big space to let the people drop, right?
Yeah. Since you spent the tokens, Malkuth, I'll say that as soon as the trapdoor is opened, you see the Starlight Serpent egg. It's just laying there like it got like dropped and rolled across the ground down there.
Yeah, I'm jumping down. No ladders, just jumping. And yeah, I crouch down and I start to pick it up. I start to wipe it off.
This is almost certainly what Beatrice Mandrick was talking about. She can only get the egg so far. And down below as well, Magda, there is a gory scene down there. It's like a skin of a large creature that was probably once, well, it's very furry, but the fur is matted with blood, and it has a snout and teeth, and it looks like the creature has been like peeled off. So it's just like it's like just an empty, like a skin, essentially, just bloody skin sack that's been torn open.
Is it worth anything?
I mean,
you could take it.
The right buyer.
Yeah, it's the right buyer, maybe.
Does the pelt resemble the thing that Malkuth saw?
It does indeed. Yeah.
Got it.
It must have grabbed it, come down here at a certain point, and drop the egg down below the gallows.
If I look around, does it look like it comes down here often?
Make a hunt roll.
I close the next I don't think I have anything that'll help. I'm just gonna double check that. Athletics, defense, surprise, tactics?
I don't think so.
I get a token on my 5.
And you encounter something terrible. The terrible thing is just going to be kind of the truth, I think, of the situation. You see lots of different bloody footprints around, but dried, not fresh like these. You also find many more of these like fur husks, but like in various states of decay down here.
I'm thinking it comes down here often.
I'm starting to think that man we saw might be connected to this.
Yes, probably. It's very likely. In fact, here, let's get out of here, and I'll start to climb up out of the hole and back onto the gallows. When I'm up here, though, I don't know if I can do like a hunt roll to see if I see any sign of any other kind of influence here. Like I know that Malfast seems to be like located within the town square, but I'm wondering if there's any kind of other either influence here or other signs of either him or Beatrice.
But how are you looking? How are you trying to find out?
Just using my eyes and my senses,
Okay,
just looking around the gallows.
Just do a hunt roll.
Okay. Nope.
What'd you get?
Got a 3.
3. You encounter something terrible. We'll get back to that in a minute. Cassian and Tekla, what are the two of you doing during all this?
I want to go and look in the oubliettes, see if I can. I mean, it's daylight, right? I might be able to see a certain way down them.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're only about 20 feet deep. So
Only. Is there anything? Are there like skeletons or
no
evidence
no
of them having been used?
But they probably were used, but probably everybody was hung eventually. So there's no skeletons down there. However, you can see that they were. These are like the spaces are like masoned, like they're not just pits dug in the ground. They have like stone walls and things like that. You can make a hunt roll to find something more juicy than that, I suppose.
Yeah, I was wondering if there's kind of any sign of there being like other entrances at the bottom, or connecting to
Yeah,
tunnels
yeah,
or something.
yeah.
What do I have?
And you're just looking
Those
through the metal
skills.
grate, right? You're not actually going down there.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get down there. I don't really have any skills that would work. Got to get lucky sometime with these one dice rolls. 5.
Pick a token. I think as there are 3 oubliettes, and you can kind of be looking down in all 3 of them. And let me take a look at the incursion real quick. I don't think you see anything like nothing stands out between the 3. They don't seem to be connected in any way. And they just seem like essentially empty stone pits. But in one of them, you do see a pair of yellow glowing eyes in the dark. Very similar to what Banah would have seen beneath the house, though you don't have to have known that, Tekla, to understand that a pair of glowing yellow eyes in the dark is rarely a good thing.
I think I jump back and give a gasp. There's something down there. I saw eyes. Although I suppose it probably can't get out.
Perhaps we shouldn't test that.
Are the grates across the oubliettes secure?
They can be opened.
But they are like closed and
They're closed, and they can be locked, but these are not.
I think I will tentatively peer again and see, does it look like it's trying to climb up?
You don't
Whatever
see
it
the
is.
eyes anymore.
Oh. It's gone. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Bad. I think Cassian's going to step forward and just try and kick the lock across.
Do you have a lock, Cassian?
Oh, I thought you said it can be.
Oh no,
okay.
they don't have locks at all. They can be locked, but they don't have locks currently. Yeah. They have like a D ring to lock them.
Right. I'm going to take one of my torches and shove it through.
To do what? For what purpose?
To try and at least temporarily lock it.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Yeah, you can do that. That's fine. Yeah.
I'll hopefully hold for a bit.
Meanwhile, Magda and Malkuth. Malkuth. Problem solved. You have your egg. What now?
Got my baby back. Yeah, I think he's letting Tekla and Cassian look around the oubliettes, and Magnus seems preoccupied with being in the pit. So he's sort of looking around the base of the gallows that's not concealed by being underground, but then also wandering off a little bit just to see if there's any other like tracks or traces of anything.
Yeah, go ahead and make a hunt roll.
That's a 5.
Yeah. Take your token. I'll come back to what you find in a moment. Magda, what are you doing?
I'm trying to think of a good way to tell Malkuth that I told a powerful witchy woman that I would give her the egg.
Are you just having this
And-
conversation while Malkuth's looking around?
I'm just like, I think I'm still in the pit, like underneath the gallows,
Oh,
just
yeah,
trying
okay.
to like weigh my options here.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. You haven't actually said anything yet.
Yeah, no, just sort of having a bit of a dilemma, emotionally speaking.
So then what? It just he's
I'm
still in
just- I
the
think-
pit.
I think we see Magda kind of nod. Okay, gonna do it. I can just come right out. I'm a hero. I'm just gonna come right out and say it. And then she's saying all this out loud.
Oh, yeah.
And then climbing out of the trap door up onto the main part of the gallows. Trying to look very determined and sure of herself. Walking up to Malkuth. I promised your egg to a witch.
What? Why would you do that?
I didn't know she was talking about your egg.
Well, she's not getting it.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the end of the discussion, right?
Well, we still have the witch to deal with.
You have a witch to deal with.
But it was your egg that she wanted.
Yes, and I have my egg now.
So I don't have anything she wants, and you do. Is it my witch to deal with? Or is it our witch to deal with?
I didn't make any agreements with the witch, so I think it's really more of a you problem. If something happens, I'll help you, of course, because that's what we do. But maybe in the future, don't believe seductive yet creepy women in wells.
Well, it made sense at the time that she was helping me with my pilgrimage.
You think someone would be helping you from a well?
Yes, it's strange and mysterious. And makes for a good story.
I think you got me there. Nevertheless, I think that you just have to go back and let her know that she's not getting it. But if there's something else that you can provide her, well, then offer it if you feel like it's important. But she's not getting this egg, and he'll just sort of rub it in his papoose.
Meanwhile, Tekla and Cassian. There might be a merc freak down in the pit, which is being temporarily sealed up with a torch inside the lock mechanism. What next?
We're still trying to find this. Cassian, what are we looking for here to help us?
Maybe
Looking back,
the
I
journal
think-
might have more information, possibly.
Oh,
You only
Yeah, that makes sense.
quickly went through it for the purposes of finding this, but there's a whole journal like kept by Beatrice Mandrake. So if you want to read
May
through
I?
it and do a hunt roll, I'll let you know what you learn.
he'll kind of look at Tekla with clear suspicion, like he's not trying to be subtle. And finally, he'll sigh and say, "I suppose you probably read faster than I do. Just as long as it makes it back to my pack."
Of course.
So hold it out.
And yeah, I will start scanning through it. See
You
if
can
I
do it. You can do a hunt roll, yeah, for sure.
Does the book count as a piece of equipment that helps me?
I guess so. Yeah. Well, there's also like just the idea of like, you're all about like ancient discoveries, and
Right.
this is from an ancient time, so yeah, might be just something
is
you'd be
very much
interested
my
in.
shit, yeah.
It is your thing. So roll 2 dice.
A 4.
Yeah. Beatrice Mandrake did indeed summon Malfast to help the people of Hester's Mill. That all lines up with the story that the others know. She also has noted how to get rid of Malfast, which she attempted to do, but gave up on eventually. She also went through several other phases of trying to control the creature. The scarecrow process was put together as a way of keeping eyes on Malfast. Indeed, she has imbued the scarecrow with the ability to keep Malfast in a slumbering stasis as long as it's whole and on its little pole, but you all took care of that. And the only other way to get rid of it, apart from just physically destroying it, if you can attempt that, is Malfast has to complete the task for which he was summoned. That is all it says.
Oh, this is interesting, Cassian. This is very interesting. It seems that the witch that Mac spoke to, summoned that creature in the first place to protect the town. Now the history, as I understand it, is the town was in rebellion against Lord Galdron.
Yes.
And it says here that if Malfast completes what he was brought here to do, he will return to where he came from. Now,
the book specifically mentions the mill being important in the last step of getting rid of Malfast.
No, I don't quite understand why it should be centered around the mill, but perhaps Lord Galdron, if he is defeated by Malfast somehow, that will end this curse.
We saw in the mural that the people would grind up Galdron's soldiers, right?
Yes.
So I think he'll relay to Tekla. I suspect I know how the mill plays in.
And it seems to me that this Galdron was not an enlightened ruler.
No, perhaps not, but if that is Lord Galdron, he could be useful.
Useful how? He doesn't seem to know who he is. I think he's as trapped in this curse as Malfast is.
If that's true, and we're going to help one of them, do we really want to help Malfast?
Well, are we helping him so much as allowing him to return?
Don't believe Mandrake's lies. Right on the wall.
Which is exactly what this Lord Galdron would want us to think.
Malkuth clearly found the egg. We can leave. This doesn't need to be any of our problems.
Think how fascinating a discovery this would be to bring back if we could unravel this mystery.
And Cassian will kind of narrow his eyes and her sister's, or no, wait, it's not sister, old one. Valuable in its fascination or academic?
Are you suggesting that academic pursuits have no value?
Monetarily?
Oh, well, sometimes there are those that will pay for knowledge, especially knowledge of the ancient and occult variety.
Yes. And he'll take the book and start heading toward Cauldron's camp.
What, Malkuth? You are on the road, and from your you're on the hill. You're still kind of a little high up on the hill as you're looking around. You have a good view into the village right now. You don't find anything of particular interest. You got your token, but you have a pretty good view of the village, and you can see a number of the crow creatures gathering around the mill. There are a few rows deep. as if gathering around their progenitor.
And I see Kazian and Tekla going back to the camp from here.
Indeed, you do.
Oh no.
You would probably also see Magda heading for the well.
Magda? Magda? No, well, we have bigger issues. And he'll start to gesture towards the growing phalanx of crow things.
Yeah, that's where I'm going, to the well.
No. That's at the mill. Kazian and Tekla are going towards it. We need to get them out of there.
I can't hear you.
Okay. He'll,
They're going towards the camp. No one's going towards the mill right now. Well, Magda kind of is because she's going towards the well. But
okay, got it. Yeah, he'll tuck his egg away and he'll just start to run after. I think he'll start to go after Magda because of. Oh no, because yeah, he'll go. It's fine. I was like, I don't want to bring the egg to her, but it's whatever. She's a hologram, right?
right. So Magda, what's your purpose right now?
I have to go talk to the person that I promised this egg to, because I cannot complete that promise, and
You won't
I'm
get very
worried that
far
if I
before
don't, she'll get my friends killed.
before you even enter the village. You'll see that there are a bunch of the crow creatures gathered around the mill right now, and it would be incredibly dangerous to go into the village.
Mandrake? Can you hear me?
There's no reply.
Magda, this is. They're going to the camp. We should go away from the crow things.
Oh, I wasn't going towards the crow things.
You're going to the crow things right now. It doesn't matter if that's what you intended. It's what you're doing. Let's just go to the camp.
Okay, but keep a good hold onto your egg.
Absolutely.
Just in case.
Absolutely. Come on.
Cassian and Tekla, you arrive at the camp first, and you see the vagrant. He says, "Oh, hello. Did you come to throw any of my equipment down a ditch or hide it in a tree or something, perhaps? I have some sausages on if you want. I am not too hungry, as it turns out, but well, I made them anyway."
Yes, well, no further items in the river. I'm going to say what I know. You don't have to agree. You don't have to pretend, but if you wish to, feel free.
All right.
You are Lord Galdron. You have been here for a very long time trying to kill Malfast. I'm not sure how the Diabolist plays in, but I, in this book, have a spell to allow you to see the demon. I know you are also more than just a man. If you would like to see the demon, perhaps you can kill it.
It says, "Can I see your book?"
He'll hold it up, but not hand it over.
It says, I have not even had a chance to do any reconnaissance here. I've only just arrived, friend.
Oh, well, you
It's
see,
in the mill.
we have been exploring the village itself, and Magda, Tekla will start helpfully pointing out passages in the book and trying to explain to him that, you know, it says here about the mill is central to banishing this demon. But we believe that you and it are bound in some way, in some kind of curse that Beatrice Mandrake is responsible for.
The alternative appears to be we grind you into a fine slurry, and I imagine that would not be your first choice.
Most of the words you've said to me do not have any meaning to me whatsoever, but if you can help me in my hunt, if you have a weapon that will allow me to hunt more effectively, then I will gladly receive it.
We have better than a weapon. We have a way. to enable you to see your quarry.
Very well. My quarry is elusive, so this is well met.
Now,
Cassian will have brought the bucket and just kind of set it on the ground and say, "Do you know the steps, Tekla?"
I believe I can decipher them from the book, yes.
It is a ritual application of mud of this land applied to the body, in particular over the eyelids, that allows you to see that which is hidden, that which is tied to the land but not visible. There are some words you speak, some gestures you make, and you can bestow the vagrant with this ability. What are the other two of you? Are the two of you just like there watching all this happen, or what are the two of you doing, Magda and Malkuth, once you arrive? You probably arrive like while they're getting the mud ready.
Yeah, Malkuth was just gonna, jog on over there to meet with the others, and I think once he sees them in a peaceful sort of ritual with Guldren, he'll just stand and watch. They know more about this than he does.
Yeah, I think Magda does the same. She doesn't trust this guy because she's killed him before, but she doesn't want to interrupt.
Once he's done with once he's done having the rituals applied to his face and body, this mud, or he's looking in the direction of the village. The mill, which is a pretty tall building and stands out and can be seen from the distance. He opens his eyes wide and he says, What horror is this? I'm here hunting boar and deer. Not what is this monstrosity? What?
That smell fast.
He just like has this look of like shock and terror, and he says, you and he kind of like just grabs his stuff and he's running, he's leaving.
Bonk him on the back of the head.
Are you gonna try to catch him?
Yeah, I think just pure instinct, he's gonna just try and like bonk him on the back
I'll
of the
let
head
you.
and like
I don't
drag
need
him
to roll.
back.
I'll let you. You knock him out.
Perhaps we need to use the millstone after all.
In all fairness, Malfast is really gnarly looking.
But I think I know how to get rid of him.
We're not seriously considering grinding the man up.
Grinding.
Listen, he's been at this 100+ years. It feels like an act of mercy.
I've
Exactly.
killed
He's-
him
he's-
before, so clearly he comes back from the dead. He's not.
Well,
It's not a
it might be
normal
that there
person.
are particular conditions on the curse, Magda, but yes, you are right. He's not a normal man any longer.
If you saw what we saw Cassian in that pit in the gallows, this is not a life to live.
Hold up the pelt that I took.
Ooh, would I be able to identify what creature it is?
Of the pelt?
Yep.
Yeah, this is a there are some beast bitten that like change in a way to where their beast forms around them and they have to tear out of it every time they change back. It's like they're born anew every time.
Is it just like a nebulous furry creature thing,
Like
or was
wolf,
he like a wolf?
Yeah.
Turning to Tekla, he'll say, when one is beast bitten and transforms, do they always return with no memory? Do you know?
Do I know? What is my knowledge of myths?
Sure, yeah. There's stories of particularly certain beast bitten, legendary beast bitten who have no memory of their time transformed.
Well, perhaps there's another option here. If he is, as you suggest, transforming, perhaps we can make him transform, and then he will remember why he is here.
Or
Do you
he'll
think
just try
he-
to eat us.
Well, yes, unfortunately, that is also a possibility, but
We
do
know
you
that
think
he's
he
under the thrall of this Beatrice Mandrake. There's no doubt about that. And he's been doing
No.
this for 100+ years. It's horrible. I don't like the idea of having to grind him up into man meal, but it what else do we have? We can walk away from this, letting this man just live out the rest of his life in this loop of beastly hunger and forgetfulness and this purpose that will never have an end.
While they are debating, did the strike that Malkuth delivered cause the man to bleed?
Maybe. What'd you have in mind?
I'm going to take some blood.
Take some of his blood?
Yes.
You can, sure.
I will grab some glass bottles from my backpack.
Yeah, you can certainly add that to your equipment. He's there. The task is very clear if you intend to be rid of Malfast, unless you want to fight Malfast, or just go home. That's also an option. Just leave him to it.
What do you think?
Could we even get him unconscious to the mill
There's
through that?
4 of you. You could probably drag him there. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a chain too. I can wrap him up in him.
4 of
I
us,
think
but
it's
7
more-
hands.
It's more whether we can get past those things down there.
I think if Malfast wants this guy, he's going to let us through. I think he's eager to finish this job too.
Let's hope so.
Didn't-
Seems not very heroic to have this person face their death unconscious.
You literally blindsided him and murdered him.
And kicked his sword into a
Right?
river.
He did get to fight me
It is
face to
surely,
face.
Magda, surely it's quite heroic to break the curse that's blighting this place.
Malkuth, you heard the voice of whoever sought the egg, did you not?
Yes.
And they called the immortal beast bitten.
Yes.
Perhaps our friend Mandrake is playing both sides.
That may be true, but my position on this is that I just want peace for this man. Clearly, this is not a peaceful existence for him. He's caught in this, and if we can put him out of his misery, it'll be a charity.
Magda and the Curse of Hester's Mill.
That sounds really good.
One thing I'll point out is if this land is cleared of its blight, enough time has passed where no one's claiming it.
We can own a town?
We can have our own little town. Magdaville.
We'll
No.
work on the name, but sure. All right, so let's put it to a vote officially. All in favor of grinding up this poor man and freeing this town from its blighted oblivion.
Or we can have him transform.
For people listening to this, that was
Oh yeah.
3 tentative hands raised out of 4.
Cassian, do you have an alternative?
We,
Oh, you want to leave.
whatever he is, he doesn't seem miserable. And if perhaps if we can use him to end this another way, it seems wrong to sacrifice him without even waking him up first.
Not to play devil's advocate, but he was a bad guy in life, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah, wasn't he like a terrible ruler?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's why
he built the gallows hill high
why
up
they
so
were-
so everybody could watch their family dying. Like,
Yeah.
That's why they rebelled against him.
yeah.
In balance, though, they did also summon a giant demon and
oh yeah, they got theirs
sacrifice
for sure.
Yeah.
to it. So
Yeah.
Maybe
We can be
They
the
would
ones
never have
that-
done that if he hadn't been.
There are no real winners in the moral quandary that is Hester's Mill.
Yeah, it's just full of moral dilemmas. It's great.
What kind of cruel being wrote this?
Kind of sick mind. Should be on a watch list. Yeah. Kazian, if you have any other plans in mind, say them. But otherwise, I think we're all in agreement. We
As
got
I
to do
say,
this.
if we can work out how this transformation of his happens, maybe we can unleash him upon Malphast rather than sacrificing him directly ourselves.
And if I
Do you
recall,
think-
the mural, the sacrifices involved consuming the remains, did they not?
I mean, I don't remember that.
And
Thought we just
birthing
grind it
the
up.
crow things, was that not how this all began?
Oh well, now you put that in there. Yeah, I don't really want to have that for breakfast. Maybe we'll
Yes,
revisit Tekla's plan of transformation. You're smart. You know about these things. What do you think we could do to facilitate this?
Well, we need to understand how and why he's transformed. Because it seems to me that when we found him by the gallows hill, he knew of Malphast. He knew what he was doing here. He knew who he was.
Does the journal that you have, Kazian, mention anything about beast bitten transformations? If Mandrake did this, surely she would have written something down about it, right?
So I will tell you that the beast bitten thing that came after all the initial events in Hester's Mill.
It doesn't mention, but we encountered the beast at night. And by morning, he's a bloody man who seemed to... Did he recall things before he washed himself in the river?
I
It didn't
believe,
He
seem-
responded to things.
I believe so. And the legends of beast bitten do typically tell us they transform at night. So perhaps we find a way to secure him until the evening,
The oubliettes.
and then we set him loose upon Malphast once the sun sets.
We're going to risk that another night here.
As opposed to risking dragging an unconscious man through that.
Or risking returning to Fort Durin with that demon in pursuit.
It seems like that demon is on kind of a scheduled program, though. The pit beneath the gallows, there's tons of those husks, those pelts. I think he just sort of hunts, goes there, and retransforms, and
But he's never been able to see the demon before.
true.
And now he can.
Well, okay, so maybe we pull him out at like dusk so that he's not transforming, inside around us, and we'll just put him in front of the mill and hope for the best.
Such a bad idea. I love it.
Or we secure him somewhere in the stables, perhaps. And then when he awakes in his transformed form in the evening,
We just need to make sure that he sees
he will immediately see
Malphast.
Malphast.
So Whatever you all want to do with this, I am open to suggestions, ideas, plans. Just don't want to be around at night when it, can eat us.
Indeed.
I don't feel like
And-
we're any closer to having a plan that we're
No.
settling on here. I feel like we've made no progress on what to do.
Come along, we take him down to the stables, and we simply leave him there.
The easy
Fine.
thing is definitely to sacrifice him under the millstone, right? That is
Yeah.
the thing that we know will work.
But then we have to drink the slurry, right?
That is not necessarily true.
Oh, okay.
You just said you have to complete the task he was brought here for.
And he was brought here. Wasn't he brought here to destroy?
To destroy Lord Galdrin, yes.
Yes.
Then perhaps we merely behead him, leave the head in the oubliette, lock it tight. Surely he can't.
And then grind the rest of his body down?
Perhaps that's not necessary if he's destroyed.
Yes, but I think it's the demon that has to transform him.
Yeah, he seems
As
like
Magda,
the one...
as Magda says, she killed him once before, and he simply returned.
I think
Should
something's
be
got to get
fair.
around.
Yeah. Listen, I'll be the donkey if it makes you all feel better.
I'm simply saying if we encourage him or put him in a position where he fights the demon, one of them will win.
You're also
And either way,
considering
That's a
that
fair
Wash our
point.
hands of the problem.
you also think that we can control the beast bit. And I don't.
Well,
it's really
I'm not
unpredictable.
suggesting we stay with him.
Well, right now he's very predictable. He's unconscious. Got him wrapped up in a chain. We can just
Exactly.
finish
So
this now.
let's get him where we need him now while he is unconscious.
So drop
Yes.
him off at the village and then leave. Is that the plan?
And
Watch
who knows?
from a
Maybe the
safe
crow
distance,
things will
yeah.
grind him for us. They've got tentacles.
And his
Either
fate is
way,
out of
the
our
problem's
hands.
solved.
This feels fair. More fair.
Thank you, Cassian.
Okay, fine.
Should we see the demon?
Only if you want to. Again, it's really, really gnarly looking. There's lots of mouths and regurgitation, tentacles, but like lots of them.
But perhaps it would be best not to be surprised.
It's up to you. Listen, there's plenty of mud here for everybody. I'm just saying, from my own experience, I'm good on not having ever to see him again. Personally.
Cassian's already putting it on his eyes.
There you go.
Yeah, so is Magda.
There's
Are you
more
all
for
going-
you, Tekla, if you want some.
Academic interest.
Indeed.
Are you all going to drag Galdrin to the mill at dusk? Is that the plan?
Sounds like it.
I'm
Or
going to take my
before dusk.
tapestry that I have that I got from got earlier, and I'm going to wrap Galdrin up in the tapestry with maybe some belts or rope, or if the grappling hook rope I have,
Mhm.
just so that he's easier to contain.
Oh, I have him wrapped up in a chain too, so.
And then we
You
can just drag him
drag-
without him getting rope
Yeah.
or ground burn.
As you approach the village with Galdrin still unconscious, wrapped up, the crow things see you coming, and they actually part for you. They create like a little, like two little lines, like a to walk between, that leads directly to the entrance to the mill. They're waiting. They think you're here to sacrifice him under the millstone.
I don't want to say I told you all so, but I told you all so.
Yes, doing what these creatures want seems like such a great plan.
You can all see Malfast. He just repeats what I described earlier to Jack, where he regurgitates a partially digested soldier that's screaming and gets torn apart. And if you watch him long enough, he just does it over and over again. It's like a scene being played on loop.
Well, it's all yours.
Are they allowing us to get near the stables? Or I guess we can go to the mill.
Yeah, you can just they're allowing you to walk right up to the mill door with body. I think they think you're going to grind him under the grindstone, that you've brought him here for that purpose.
I hate to be this.
Let's hope they let us leave again.
Well, I think they will if we do what they ask. But if we don't, they won't.
If we just hand over Goldern.
I think demons like it when they get to watch. I think they like
Yeah.
they like the ritual.
They're messy.
They like the offering, right?
Yeah, I'll say Tekla, I think I haven't got a lot of experience with demons, but all the stories that I've read, this has to be kind of bloody. Sorry. And Malkuth will just start to drag the body up towards the millstone.
You drag him inside, and that's when he comes to. He says, where am I? What's going on?
Shh. Just go back to sleep.
What have you done? Why am I tied up like this?
Just, it'll be fine. It'll be quick. I promise.
Do you set him in the bedstone?
Yeah.
Once he realizes what you're about to do, he begins screaming in terror. Outside the mill, the crow creatures, and indeed Malfast, they throw their heads up to the sky, and they let out this terrible discordant note that matches his screams in terms of the tune or the note or whatever. It matches, it's a harmony, harmonizes with his screaming. And as you grind him up, filling the trough with blood and bone, as his screams die, as the millstone crushes his lungs and ribcage and eventually his skull, Malfast and the crow creatures disappear. Their task complete. Let's go to stars and wishes.
I feel like I need a condition for that.
I feel like we all do.
I was gonna have Magda help, but then I realized I'm at Ruin 5, and I don't think that would do her any good. Wow. Okay, stars. Everyone really leaned into it, into the horror of this, into yeah. It was very disturbing, in the best way, of course, right? In like, this is a terrible folk horror thing that just happened, and I'm honestly a little surprised we ground the guy up.
I like Ben's note in the chat. Oh God, we started from the bottom.
Such a terrible thing. Yeah. Stars, of course, to Jason for writing this incursion, or this it's an incursion still.
Incursion, yeah,
right?
it's still an incursion. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's super disturbing, and all of those folk horror elements I just really love. Weird animals. The birthing stuff was so creepy and weird. Just a lot of really great moments. Tekla showing up is great. She feels already like a part of this weird fractured group that is sort of trying to protect each other, sort of trying to get things done. There's a lot of antagonism, but not in a way. I hope it's not in a way that makes anyone feel like their character is being singled out. Well, I mean Magda is, but she deserves it. And she'll get her stuff together once she has a better ruin, maybe. But yeah, everyone's just doing wonderful, and I can't wait to see what happens after this, because this is really messed up.
Yeah, this is the most midsummer that I've seen this incursion go. It was an interesting way to go. I was all for just standing back and watching a kaiju fight between the Beast Bitten and Malphas, but Cassian, wow, there was no stopping you. Once you saw that millstone, you just got to get grinding, huh?
It's Malkuth.
Sorry, yeah, Malkuth. Yeah. Yeah, no, this was great. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the dynamic that kind of immediately picked up between like various members of the group, Cassian in particular, and Tekla. That was really cool.
Oh, a quick star to Rob for going with my, if you were really Tekla, you would know this one Magda song, because that was really mean of me, but it was funny.
What was your favorite part? That's the part I love, when you were like, what was your favorite part of that song?
Tekla trying to come up with a polite answer to that.
And then the group being like, okay, well. I had a good time. I really, I've run Hester's Mill a bunch, and the solution that people go with is almost always run away or fight Malphas, more rarely, but the rarest is taking the finish the ritual option, which is in the incursion. It's one of the ways you can resolve this. And it was gruesome, and it was really good. And I think the sort of like moral quandary conversation, it's the kind of thing that like there was a chance of it getting kind of bogged down in like, tedious back and forth, but I actually thought it was really interesting to watch and listen to hear you all kind of work through it. And I tried not to interject too much, but I did want to occasionally point out certain things. But I liked it because I think it was interesting because it seems like you had all settled on just dropping the body off until you realized that they were like, oh, hey, and like, we're like, come on in. And then it was like, oh, wait, they want us to do this. And now we're here. Like, that was just a great little, like, kind of dawning realization moment that Malkuth had. So I love that. And yeah, just for the whole overall incursion, I always love how Hester's Mill plays out. I really lean into certain themes when I wrote it, and they always come through nicely, and they did especially this time. These idea of like birth horror and pregnancy horror, and the like comes out like in the land, the fertile land, and then the dreams, and the just the idea of harvest and all that stuff, and then mothers feeding children, things being fed to people. Like it all kind of comes through really neatly into this really terrific folk horror kind of experience, and we got to see that this time, and I was really happy with it.
Yeah. It was wild. Yeah, I mean, overall star, I haven't played or read this incursion, but the vibes are super tight. They're super there. And I love a moral quandary, especially between parties. And A, I hope I didn't step on anyone by just putting them in there. But B, I think everyone handled it really well. It didn't feel like this sort of character bleed where people start to like, as people just start to kind of, start to have these conflicting ideas, and then that gets heated. I think it was all handled very in character and very sensibly. I like Tekla's energy. I like the sort of youthfulness, the freshness that she brings. And I'm excited to see, because the three of us kind of have this cynicism to us that I don't see in Tekla. And I'm really excited to see how that plays out against us in future incursions. Cassian is great. I just love the dryness. He's always good. He's got a comeback all the time, and it's always just wonderful to have. And then Magda, you're always going to throw us into something. And I'm really liking though that you touched on I hope you continue to touch on sort of that guilt and that like realization that you're with other people and that you have other people's lives in your hand. And as another wish, I'm excited to see how, in particular, that dynamic between her and Malkuth goes, given the whole promising the egg thing. Started Jason for giving me back my baby. Yeah, I'll try to secure them more tightly next time, or at least maybe just sit on top of it during the night. We'll see, but yeah, I had a good time, and I do have a question though. Does the birthing dream condition stick, or
it can be cleared at Hearthfire like any other condition,
Okay.
but it's there until you do that. So
and then just because I'm a masochist, I am going to take a condition called Bloody Hands.
sounds good.
Yeah, stars all around. This was great. I really loved having the characters debate what we were doing, and how, what it would mean. I really enjoyed Magda. Yeah, the balance you struck between clearly having feelings about what happened to Bana, but also, oh, is this about me? How does this affect my pilgrimage? That was great, and I love Magda. As mentioned, Tekla's new the new dynamic with Tekla is good, and I look forward to exploring more of that. And also, yeah, just the different energy, the more academic interest, the more it'll be fun to see what kind of messes that causes for us. Malkuth, I loved going from need to rescue my baby, need to worship Malfast. I got my baby. Let's squish this guy. Like, you hit all over the map today with him, and it all felt right. So it was good. Yeah, wishes. We got a town now, right? We gotta do something
Magdaville.
with that. No. Cassian would absolutely not. But yeah, I look forward to seeing what that means for our crew and the world, I guess.
Is that everyone? Or I guess it is. Any other stars or wishes? Well, just a quick stinger then. You're all going to back to Fort Durin. You can come back and claim Toren's Bend whenever you wish, I suppose, but you got to go back to Fort Durin first. And so you've been gone for a bit. And I think we just see a sunny day at the farmhouse where we see a mound of dirt for a grave that was recently dug. And we see a small pair of hands set the teddy bear on the mound of dirt. Will you play with me?